Oh, right, let's dive right into this explainer and uncover a digital trap that relies entirely on, well, the illusion of familiarity. Welcome, everyone. Today, we're deconstructing a highly orchestrated psychological play that's targeting people all over the globe, the anatomy of the overseas personal shopper scam. My goal here is simple, to equip you with the knowledge to spot this trap from a mile away. So let's get right into it. I want you to imagine a scenario for a second. You're having a completely normal chat online. Maybe it's a casual acquaintance or someone you just haven't spoken to in a while. You're chatting about the weather, catching up on life, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, the person on the other end drops this exact request. Hey, can you help me pay for a birthday gift real quick? It feels jarring, doesn't it? Kind of throws you off. But because you were just having a friendly conversation, your guard is down. And that sudden pivot, that is exactly what we're looking at today. What you're experiencing in that exact moment is a textbook example of the overseas personal shopper scam. Basically, it's a fraudulent scheme where scammers build up this false trust to manipulate victims into paying for goods that literally do not exist. And the operative words here are absolutely false trust. They aren't hacking your bank account with some crazy complex code. They're hacking your empathy. They weaponize casual conversation to make you open your wallet for a product that's, well, completely fake. Now, you might be thinking, come on, I'd never fall for that, and surely it doesn't happen that often, right? Well, think again. This specific manipulation happens thousands of times every single day worldwide. It is a massive industrialized operation. Picture scammers sitting at keyboards casting this giant net, running the exact same script over and over again until someone finally caves and says yes. And that is exactly why we need to break down their playbook today. Section 1. 4 major red flags. Let's deconstruct the scammer's tactics. The first red flag is the sudden request for money, and it follows this super predictable escalation. It always starts totally innocuous. Step 1, a casual chat about the cooling weather or, the summer heat. Step 2, they smoothly transition to mentioning a family member's upcoming birthday. And then, bam, Step 3, I need you to pay for the gift. It shifts abruptly from a completely normal conversation to an urgent financial demand. Why? To build initial trust. They lull you into a false sense of security with small talk, so the request feels like a favor for a friend, not a shakedown from a total stranger. Okay, this second red flag introduces the phantom personal shopper. You'll start seeing messages claiming the shopper was recommended by a good friend and that they've already negotiated everything. So why do they do this? It's a total pressure tactic. They're trying to create this scenario where the deal is basically done, the item is secured, and literally all they are waiting on is you. They want to pressure you into paying quickly without giving you the time or the proof to verify if any of this is actually real. The third red flag is how they handle basic everyday questions. Think about the stark contrast between normal shopping and these scam tactics. If a real friend needed help buying something online, what would they do? They'd just share the direct link to the store, right? You'd see a transparent, totally normal checkout process. But a scammer, they actively refuse to share store details or answer concrete questions. If you ask, hey, what's the shop name or is it an online shop? They dodge it entirely. They evade, they deflect, and they keep the details suspiciously vague. And that brings us to the fourth red flag, the ultimate trap. I can't pay, so you pay for me. This is where they close the net. They'll feign being abroad or maybe claim they're suddenly having unexplainable payment issues with their own bank. Basically, they position themselves as helpless and entirely dependent on your generosity. But the brutal reality is this. Once you send the money to cover this supposedly urgent favor, poof, they disappear. And of course, that promised product never, ever arrives. Section 2, the scammer's playbook. Let's look at how they escalate the trap. Now, if you push back on that third red flag and demand a store link, you enter the relentless pressure of the scammer's funnel. Step 1, they will reluctantly share a fake website. I'm talking about a site they entirely control. Step 2 is absolutely critical to their operation, demanding untraceable payment. They won't ask for a normal credit card transaction, no way. They're going to demand Western Union, Bitcoin, or even gift cards. Once that money is sent, it is gone. But it actually gets worse. Step 3 traps the victim in an endless loop. After you pay that initial amount, they come right back asking for more money for sudden extra fees, customs, or taxes. It's literally a calculated cycle of extortion. To make spotting this even easier, you really need to listen for the exact language these criminals use. Watch for these 3 specific phrases: French store, personal shopper, and birthday gift. Scammers rely heavily on these specific phrases to trigger their scenarios. Actually, it adds this air of exclusivity, right? Like, oh, a fancy French store that requires a special personal shopper. If you see these three phrases pop up in a message from someone asking for money, alarm bells should be ringing in your head immediately.
Moving on to Section 3, how to protect yourself and your actionable escape plan. If you ever find yourself in this situation, you need to follow this exact checklist to protect your assets. First and foremost, do not send any money under any circumstances, not even a tiny amount just to test it. Second, cut off their access to you entirely. Block and delete the conversation immediately. Third, well, actually, scratch that. Before you delete it, make sure you keep screenshots of the chat. This evidence is incredibly useful if you need to report the manipulation to the police. And finally, if you realize you're in a scam but you've already sent money, don't panic but act fast. Contact your bank or payment service right away to see if the transaction can be halted.
So, we've covered the anatomy of the scam, the red flags, the playbook, and your escape plan. I want to leave you with this final question to chew on. Next time a casual chat turns into a financial favor, will you spot the trap before it snaps? Stay vigilant out there, everyone. Recognize the red flags when a conversation shifts from the weather directly to your wallet. And always remember the golden rule. Real friends do not pressure you into sudden, untraceable transactions for mysterious personal shoppers. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay safe and keep your guard up.